For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses, presented by Saratoga Water. He's the Big A, Anthony Stabile. I'm Andy Serling. 9-race holiday card, Monday, July 5th. This is the weekday holiday recognition for July 4th. Is that the deal?
Observance.
Observance.
That's the word, yes.
Well, we observed yesterday, though. Yesterday was
we
Independence
observed
Day.
yesterday. I mean, Howard Beach was...
Oh, I bet it was a war zone.
You have no idea. It was like it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
It was good to see, but at the same time, I am not the biggest fan of fireworks. Neither is my cat, Parson, who just dug herself under the bed.
Funny how cats aren't big fans of fireworks. You rarely see a cat lighting off fireworks, for instance. Rarely, occasionally, but rarely. I heard him. I live on the Upper West Side in the city. I heard him, but I didn't see him. I could have got on my roof to see him, but I went to bed instead.
Air conditioner on, put the TV volume up as high as you can.
Air conditioner was like 65 out.
I need the noise. I have trouble with all the explosions.
Do you get one of those noise machines, those things, you know?
No, last night I needed to
soothing,
drown out the explosions.
Sounds of the ocean or something.
I put on the Hallmark Christmas channel. I was good.
The Yule log?
Christmas in July.
The Yule log?
Christmas in July movies are on. Come on, man. Read a book.
I don't celebrate Christmas, Anthony. It's not a big deal for me. Anyhow, saw some nice racing yesterday.
You did?
Mind Control, switching to Todd Pletcher, got it done. Didn't really put much pressure, just was forwardly placed more than anything else. Anyhow, we got 9 today. The Grand Couturier came up. It's not graded, but it came up a graded stake.
It sure
we'll see
did.
if Gufo can finally get himself in the winner's circle. Race that was changed somewhat by scratches. And the Dwyer as well, his first captain, the expensive purchase, will look to take a step forward and maybe put his name into the hat for the top 3-year-olds and try races like the Jim Dandy and Travers after this. You'd have to imagine, given the pedigree. But one step at a time. You have to take the first step if you haven't already taken it, and that's going over to NYRABets and signing up. NYRABets.com. Use promo code MATCH200. Sign up, match $200 of your initial deposit. Play through NYRABets. Support the game in New York. Also, America's Day at the Races. Look at that. Francisco did this himself. He drew that from scratch on this TV screens.
It's wonderful.
1 to 5:30 on FS2 today. Covering all the action here at beautiful Belmont Park. Race number 1, Anthony. Race number 1 is a race that we like to call a guessathon. And you and I have taken the most likely guessathon horses, Wesley Ward and Mike Maker. I saw somebody that made 3 picks and didn't include either the 1 or 6 in the race. You wonder how they live with themselves. You really do.
So I did not transfer my notes from this
But
race
the chance that
coming off
both these
the turf.
horses don't hit the board.
It's
0
8 million to 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Feels like a big price.
No Time Alone. Part of the reason, and yes, guessing game for sure, is none of these horses have either run or run on the turf. In fact, she's the only one that's even competed. She was entered into a race where her barn mate won by 10 lengths. And this filly is by Flincher. Again, I did not transfer my notes.
The dam herself won 3 of 15 turf races. She was okay, won $115,000, ran an 84 buyer. She's produced 2 that try the turf, won 1. They might have been better dirt horses overall, but this is a Flincher, and while he hasn't been a particularly effective sire, obviously it's a turf influence, so you would expect No Time Alone is probably okay.
And she scratched out of the dirt race the other day. So my assumption is she was entered to make the race go for Miss Alaracity last time, and now she's here.
But she ran last time. She scratched.
Oh, well, I mean, you give it one, come out in a field of 4.
How do you pronounce that? Alacrity? Alacrity,
I'm sorry.
Alacrity, right.
Yeah, Miss Alacrity.
Usually get that right. As far as the 1, Flip My Lid, well, it's a Freud for Mike Maker. There really isn't much turf pedigree. The second dam Second dam was trained by the one and only Dominic Galuccio. The late, great Dominic Galuccio won 1 of 9 races on the turf with a third and A2 buyer who ran 80 on the dirt. There's some pedigree. And the thing about it is, you look through, there's really no turf pedigree to speak of throughout the field. Who's the sire of Our Tiny Dancer? Union Jackson. Do you remember him?
Yes, that was a Stone Street Steve Asmussen horse.
Makes sense.
Yes, I mean, he was like a knock-around allowance horse. I don't remember him being on the turf, though. I remember him being a dirt sprinter. But I could be wrong.
All right. We went in a fairly logical direction in race number 1.
Yes, I like the name on the one, Flip My Id.
Okay. That's a helpful handicapping hint. Thank you for that.
I'm just saying, I like it. It's
Race number 2, Posse Condisco. We'll try to wire the field. We'll take a look at Posse Condisco's last race almost 4 months ago at Aqueduct with our friend Kendrick Harmouche, who hopefully is progressing, and we'll see soon at Saratoga. On the front end, just got ran down. It's the best race he ever ran. Bruce Levine is struggling at the meet. Hadn't really noticed it. My guess is that he's run a lot of horses that had minimal chances, because when you see a trainer who's 0 for 20-something and you hadn't noticed it, especially a guy like Bruce, it probably means he's been running a lot of 15 and 20 to 1 shots
That's
that you hadn't
exactly
really
right.
considered. So I don't know that suggests his horses aren't running as much as he's running horses that didn't figure to run.
He did everything right except win last time. He got tired the last couple
That's
of jumps.
my line. Okay, you stole
We
that
haven't
line from me.
seen
That's
him.
my line.
No,
Yeah,
Andy,
no, it
people
is.
have been saying it before
No,
you.
that's my line.
They've been saying it before me. 3 months, he can win.
One thing I knew for
obviously.
sure, you couldn't resist the number 6 Extreme Force. I did.
Yeah,
His
no,
last
you're
race
gonna
was
try.
so
You're
bad.
gonna continually try to get a guy in the winner's circle that's 0 for 60 on the circuit.
I got beat a nose at 5 to 1 the other day.
A lot of them got
I
beat
got
a
beat.
nose.
I got beat a nose at 5 to 1. I'm so embarrassed by that
You shouldn't
selection
be
the other
embarrassed,
day.
but I
No,
mean-
I'm humiliated that I took an even 5 to 1 shot and lost by a zop to a turf-bred first-time star that went off at even money and he beat me a zop. I feel like such a jerk. Stop.
I'm glad you admit it.
Stop.
Finally,
The problem with
admitting it.
Extreme Force is multiple. He's 4 to 5 morning line. He's Irad Ortiz. He's 1 for 12 with no seconds, and his form is going like this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with anything you say.
I know you don't, because you can't, because it's all true. He may win this race, and I got him second.
Blinkers
but
go on the
it's a
5 feast,
bad
by the way.
horse
That's a late
This is
equipment
a
change.
bad horse to pick at a short price. I'm sorry. It's a give up.
It's not a give up.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not taking a barn that doesn't win on the circuit, but Posse Condisco
Beat
can
his op at 5 to
obviously
1.
win
What a
this
bad
race.
pick that was.
Posse Condisco can obviously win this race. But he's supposed to close the door last time, and let's face it, he opened a 2-length lead in the lane, and he got run down.
I'm not arguing with it.
You know
well,
what I mean?
I like Feast.
Okay.
You know, I think Feast's first race would win this race. And next time out, he got caught up in an impossible spot. Dueling with the winner, who's one of those Georgina Baxter horses who frequently seem to run off the screen. And then they come back and they use a prep on the turf, shows speed, gets something out of the race. By the way, how he was favored last time, I have no idea. And you want to knock this trainer. The guy who had this horse in Florida is 2 for 38, so they don't win either. And I think that Feast is extremely dangerous and near. And I am not taking the 6 at a super short price because
Okay.
the horse's form is awful. And he
Okay.
might win. But you can't argue with me his form's any good.
It's not. I thought the race was 2 or 6, but
Okay.
if you want to take a shot with Feast.
I'm not taking a shot. I like Feast. I'm betting
Okay.
Feast.
Okay.
Race number 3. I'm no taking no more shot with the Feast than you are with the 4 to 5 morning line with Irad Ortiz, who this is his last day of racing, right? He's suspended for the
9,
final
10,
3 days.
11,
of the
yes,
meet,
sir. So it pretty much gives Jose the, would pretty much assume that we'll give Jose the title.
You know what? Jose will take it. Unless Manny Franco goes on a huge run.
Right.
10 behind. Race number 3. Copped out a little in race number 3. I went to the likely heavy favorite in race number 3, Road to Success. We'll take a look at Road to Success, only dirt race, where he finished second at Gulfstream. Horse that beat him's actually okay. I thought this race held up fairly well. I just thought he was a super logical horse in this race and the likeliest winner. I didn't really have a lot of smart things to say.
Yeah. I mean, if this horse runs back to his debut,
He's gonna
it'll
probably
be really
win.
tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. No question about it. Even the other George Weaver horse in the race right next door, the 5 Mo Heat, he ran okay moving to the dirt last time, but I don't know how much of it was a slop. He ran well off the layoff, though. He gets the Lasix now. He gets a dry track. We'll see how Mo Heat does. But if Road to Success runs this race, he's probably gonna win, unless. So the tip from last time's back, God's Will, and God's Will. I know the barn didn't really want to run the horse sprinting, but the long race wasn't going.
But they
and-
liked him. They told me he was going to run well. You and I got the
well,
same.
hold on. No. So I was told that the horse could run. But they realized that they were in a very, very tough spot last time. And now the horse stretches out and
you would
drops
realize
down
that was a very tough
into
spot.
a 4-horse field. 4 rivals, 5-horse field. So, yeah, I think there's a big difference between going 6 against what could be stakes horses against going a mile and 16 against which are not going to be stakes horses.
How carefully did you watch this horse's race?
This horse didn't do a step of running.
This horse was awful.
This horse didn't do a step of running.
This horse broke a length slow. He was asked for a run. He was totally sluggish. He was going absolutely nowhere. This was not a horse that Junior Alvarado gave up on at any point. He tried hard with this horse, and he did no running. I've got him second because I know there's a story, and obviously he faced a terrific field last time out, and I'm not taking Tis the Journey. I'm not taking Bourbon Rising. I tried the 5 Mo Heat last time. He ran very, very well in the constant race, a fast pace, but he lost to a horse that completely blew the brake. Last time was the time for him. I'm going to use the 4, but man, he did no running at all in that race. And they can like him, but based on what he did in the racetrack, I don't know that they're right. But I'll use him. I agree with you. I mean, you have to use him. He ran once in the maiden special weight, and he's dropping into this field. Why would you not have him in your tickets?
Yeah. You know, the road to success, I mean,
what do you mean?
He smells a little bit, doesn't he?
They paid $275 for him.
Runs as well as he did in the special weight race, and the next time he's in for 25 on the turf. He smells a little bit.
He's got a little odor to him. I don't disagree. I'm not going to argue with any of that.
You're not going to get, and don't think you're getting 8-1s on Dad's Will. The whole world knows about the horse. The whole world. You were one of 3 people that told me that they knew about the horse last time, and the horse was 31-1.
Well, the same person who told you was sending me messages on Twitter telling me.
No, I got told from 2 other people. A lot of people told me about this horse last time. That's why I was surprised he wasn't 18-1.
Shouldn't it be God's with an apostrophe? God, G-O-D apostrophe S?
Yes.
It's also kind of presumptuous, isn't it? Maybe that was taken.
What if it's not that? What if it's God's will blank?
Then it should be God's will blank.
Maybe they put the
God's
blank
will
in.
what?
I don't know. God's will thunder? I don't know. I have no clue.
I don't really know what they do.
Pillage?
To be honest, I don't know any gods, or I've never been, other than you, of course. But
I was going to say.
Right. Excuse me. I apologize.
Stay in your lane.
Silly me. Race number 4, we'll take a look at the favorite, Majestic Sky, in race number 4, finishing second last time. Or this is second 2 back, actually. They chose. We've moved on to race 4. Francisco is sleeping in the truck. But when he moves on to race 4, there we go. I think this is finishing second 2 races back. Is he really going to get better with more distance?
I don't know. I was going to ask you the same thing.
He's going to be in front, though, isn't he?
He's supposed to be in front.
Right. The difference between supposed to be in front and turf race around here and going to be in front is a football field chasm of difference.
Yeah, I always wonder, like, when I see a race like this, I'm saying, well, this horse is supposed to be in front, but he hasn't been in front yet. There's a horse like the One Orb in the Tower who's switching surfaces and blinkers, just blast off from the rail.
I was thinking Irad goes to the inside.
Yeah.
If they're not aggressive with this horse, he'll end up having the lead. And I've wanted to bet Orb in the Tower somewhere, somehow, and found that stat before. Todd Pletcher's 5 for 20 now, 25%. First time in the turf, going maiden special weight to maiden claimer. I'm taking Orb in the Tower. It's not a plethora of turf pedigree, but it's enough. I think this horse is probably some ability. Caught 2 wet tracks, 2 tough fields in his races, and I'm going to hope he's a horse in the turf.
You know you're taking Irad Ortiz Jr., right?
I took Irad, that's right. Yeah.
This one's not going to take money, though. You have a force field around this one taking money?
I didn't say he wouldn't take money. Who am I supposed to take? The only difference I was going to make was take the 4. But here's the thing. You've taken the 4. I've taken the 4.
Yeah, you have.
Twice in a row at 30-1 and 26-1, and he's outrun his odds. I've moved on. I don't need this horse now at 3-1. That's my problem. But
yeah, and he's going to take money because they see the mile
and
an eighth.
No, he's going to take money. There's nobody else to bet. I mean, and his last race makes him competitive.
This was the lazy pick for me today because
it's a lazy pick. It's either the 1, 4, or 7.
It's a little bit of a lazy pick because you
pick.
feel like he's just going to either appreciate the added ground and there's nowhere else to really go, or he's just one of these horses that's always going to run out of real estate and not pick up horses.
I'm starting to worry a little bit about that being the case.
I am too. I'll give him one more chance today.
I'd like to see him get to make an outside unimpeded run in one of these races, as opposed to always trying to pick up horses.
And you got to think that he's supposed to get that going 9 with only 5 rivals today, right? Instead of 10, 11, 9.
7 rivals, 6 rivals. It's a 7-horse field.
Well, he has 5
there's 2
rivals.
scratches.
He has 2 scratches. He's got 5 others to deal with today. He should
2
have.
scratch because I can't pronounce his name.
If he doesn't win today, I'm sending the divorce papers in as well.
It's hard to imagine the fields are going to be easier than this upstate. That's for sure.
They would, yeah. Or back down here when the fall comes.
Today's card, to be fair, has that we're going to Saratoga look to it.
A little bit.
This would normally be the Thursday card, and it has.
But the second, I
other
feel
than
like
the stakes are good.
I
The
feel
second
like
half of the card is strong.
the pick 5,
yeah,
the
but
pick
there
4.
are races.
Yes,
this
I
is
don't
like a
disagree.
we're going to Saratoga race, where the horses, a lot of guys are waiting to go upstate.
And we're allowed that because there's 8 weeks of racing coming that are just going to knock everybody's socks off.
The racing's been fabulous here this week. I'm not complaining. You're going to have some mediocre cards. If anybody thinks you have great cards every day, they're kidding themselves.
That's how it works.
I'm glad we're racing.
Me too.
I like racing today.
It's a nice day today,
Friday,
too.
Right.
Come on out.
Yeah. Race number 5. Well, I feel like it's Sweet Mia or Baby Boss, and we'll take a look at them finishing second and third. I think you and I are both hoping Baby Boss off the claim can reverse it. I don't have a lot to say, Anth.
That's it. That's it.
That's it? We can go?
I mean, it's going to go to, I'm hoping, Manny right to the top. Going from a barn that has had very little luck and success here to a barn that's had a little bit more success off the claim now. We'll see. She's technically going up a notch, but
she got easily beaten by Sweet Mia last time, I'll tell you that. Oh, it's Juan Vasquez. You can't pick Juan Vasquez. Was she a bad bet if you bet her at 12-1 last time? Just wondering.
I didn't say a bad bet. I said he's trying to get this guy into the winner's circle.
I'm picking horses here.
It's been tough.
I'm handicapping horses. And I don't let price horses. I don't let that stuff get in the way of winning horses that are fair price.
I mean, I guess Awesome Indra.
This is not a claim I think anyone's dying. From Safi Joseph, with all due respect to Marvin Richards. No, not trying to be hard on Marvin Richards, but you're going from Safi Joseph to anybody.
And what do you do with Miss Mimi? Miss Mimi's last race was just, it was so bad.
Well, the problem is that her 73 fig 2-back when she won was against an atrocious field with a perfect trip.
But what about the Malibu Mischief race back in March?
Yeah, it just, what do you do after her last race? She's claimed by George Weaver. And
from George Weaver,
she's claimed by George Weaver, and then she runs horrifically. She could win, but I can't.
She was so bad last time.
We picked the race exactly the same, you and I. I don't have a lot to say about it. I have trouble seeing Stunning Munnings win. Mosienko's tough to make. I don't really want Awesome Indra, so I'm 1, 2, and 5. I mean, I don't really know where it's supposed to go.
I couldn't disagree.
Race number 6 is the Grand Couturier. Grand Couturier.
But we're going to go
I know what we're doing.
All right.
Okay. I got it.
You got into it, man.
I'm the host. I got it.
You got into it.
Well, ignore the guy, the clown to my left.
The clown.
The Grand Couturier won.
Grand Wizard here.
A very interesting edition of the Man of War. Or I think he ran second.
Grand Couturier ran second to Red Rocks.
The question for you is, and we'll be back in a moment, who finished third? We'll be right back.
Make business meetings exquisite. Make a weekend outing exquisite. Make a late night snack exquisite. Make a night on the town exquisite. For nearly 150 years, the Saratoga Spring Water Company has been producing the finest spring water available anywhere. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. The man to my left, Anthony Spiel, has no idea the answer to the question, which is an embarrassing moment for him and his entire family tree. I can't believe you know the most esoteric things. In 2008, there was this horse that was really good. And his owner wanted to try to maybe take a shot and run this really good horse in the Arc. And he said, well, I want to run him on the turf first. Now, I don't know if a turf prep in July on a very hard course was a great idea. And Naira was looking to make a change with the Man of War because the Man of War wasn't really, and the Man of War and Joe Hirsch, filling both of them in the fall with the Breeders' Cup wasn't really working.
I didn't hear the race name.
So we moved. I said Man of War.
I didn't hear the race name.
Well, yeah, whatever. So I didn't. Whatever. So maybe you were too busy trying to stop me from doing God knows what. Anyway, besides Anthony's silliness, we moved the Man of War to July, so this horse could try it, and he finished third, and his name was Curlin.
Two-time horse of the year, yes.
His name was Curlin.
I didn't hear you say Man of War.
I remember being here for that, and Red Rocks and Grand Couturier ran 1-2.
He ain't gonna be far, right? Could be
no, he ran fine. He ran fine. I think the firm turf probably really helped him. And they decided not to run him in the Arc, and they ran him in the Woodward and the Jockey Club Gold Cup at Saratoga and Belmont, and then he
became the
went
first
out to California and tried to run a synthetic.
Became the first 10
I
millionaire.
mean, he didn't run the synthetic, right? Did
He did. He ran fourth to Henry the Navigator.
Right. Yeah, I hit that exact, actually. Henry the Navigator and... No, Henry the Navigator was second.
Ravens Pass won it?
Ravens Pass won. Henry the Navigator paid $300. They were the two synthetic horses, or turf horses. Anyhow, yep. And Grand Couturier was in that race. Who trained him? Who trained Grand Couturier?
Bobby Robato.
There you go.
So you definitely picked him.
No, I picked Red Rocks. No, actually.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't working here at the time.
Okay.
Wait. I had just started working here. I'm not sure I was in Talking Horses. I didn't do Talking Horses that often. That was when I was first freelancing here at Nairo when I came back. But I bet Red Rocks. Yeah, I picked Curlin. You know me. Anyhow,
there was no shot you picked Curlin.
This race dramatically changed with scratches. Most notably, taking Epic Bromance and Burning Bright out, and they were the two speeds. And that dramatically changed the dynamics of this race. And that's not going to help the two horses we're watching here, Gufo and Moon Over Miami. Gufo apparently gets blinkers. Somebody told me they hear he's working great with blinkers. I guess they have blinkers with an engine attached. This is the Man of War, the aforementioned Man of War, which is now much earlier in the year. Moon Over Miami, he kind of hung, but maybe he was a little intimidated trying to move inside. As the winner came over, made it a little tight. Gufo did his usual hang job. Obviously, they're hoping with the blinkers he'll stop hanging. This was some hang. I don't know. I think they're the right two horses, but go ahead. You got Moon Over Miami on top. Why is he going to beat Gufo?
I was looking forward to betting this race. Now I am just looking forward to this race because almost all of the speed is out of here. And the horses that, not only horses that I liked that I wanted to bet on today, but also my boy Sadler's Joy, they are all now, there's a lot of confusion in here now because
I'm going to take a nap.
There's
wake
one
me up
speed
when you're
now.
done.
I mean, Moon Over Miami, they're both dramatically in trouble now as far as a pace goes. And so went from a race I was looking forward to betting Moon Over Miami back. I think Moon Over Miami is going to have a good year.
Why do you like Moon Over Miami, Anthony?
Because I think Moon Over Miami is going to have a good year, and I think there's more room for improvement than him. And I still.
Why do you think he's going to be Gufo?
I still believe this now. Well,
why is he going to have a good year?
I think if he's outside last time, it's a little bit of a different story.
Okay, he did save a lot of ground, but I don't disagree. He might have been helped by being outside of horses. I don't disagree.
And I think that
I don't think he's impossible.
At the very least, and this was me handicapping this race before the scratches. At the very least, he can be a little bit more forward than Gufo.
Well, he can definitely be more forward, and I think it's up to Junior to have him a little more.
He's going to have to be now, right? Mm-hmm. He's going to really have to be now because if he allows, and they're not going to go as fast as they did in the Man of War, obviously, but if he allows him to drop back and have to do the same thing Gufo does, I'm not so sure he's going to be able to outkick Gufo. I hope he can, but I'm hoping tactically they use the little speed advantage they have with him today over Gufo.
Okay. I got no problem. I think both those horses can win. I totally agree with you. I didn't like him trying to move inside of horses either. Good and bad. As far as Tie of the Sea, he's not as good as these horses. But what he is a controlling speed. And in the past, he's been very effective when he's been able to control races on the front end. And he wasn't able to do that in his last few starts. So I'm hoping that they just let him roll. Just let him roll.
You're going to have to. I mean, there's no other. I mean, when you look at this race on paper, if there's anybody else, and now this is one where we were joking earlier about the pace scenario. If anybody else with this horse is on the lead against this group of horses, it's the biggest head scratch. That's the biggest head scratcher. I mean, Red Knight comes from the moon. It would probably be the biggest
head scratcher in at least an hour around here.
Sadler's Joy comes from the moon.
In at least an hour around here.
Andy, I mean, who else are you going to? I mean, you look at the 6 horses.
You know how many races you could say that about, and who else ends up on the lead?
A million. But in this race,
do you like Channel Cat thinking he'd be the speed in the Man of War?
In this race, Channel Cat had at least shown speed in his life. None of these horses could outrun me and you the first half mile in races.
Anyhow, we'll take a look at Sadler's Joy. This is him winning, but just getting disqualified in the Bowling Green. He's a cool, admirable horse. I don't like him at all today. I thought he tailed off at the end of the year last year. I think he's a cool horse. He's had a great career, Tommy, but I don't want any part of him. I hope I'm wrong.
8 years old.
I hope I'm wrong. I love this horse.
Me too.
But I don't think so.
Yeah. You know, Jose Lezcano, back in the Turf Classic a couple of years ago, in the Joe Hirsch, put this horse on a dawdling pace. He was never too far from it, and he got beat a half length. Maybe Jose Ortiz, who's aboard today, try something similar.
He could be a little closer.
Yeah, I mean, I at this point...
Well, I don't think Ty the Sea is supposed to set a dawdling pace. I think he's supposed to go. Make him run.
I do too, but there's a better chance he's going to be on the lead than he's on the lead setting a good pace. And Sadler's Joy, at this point, I kind of feel like he's 8 years old. Like you said, he tailed off last year. His 2 races this year haven't been great. You really have nothing to lose at this point, trying to switch things up a little bit. You know he's run well on top of a slow pace in the past. Give it a shot. I mean, you got to think his race days are numbered anyway, right? He's got to be getting ready to wrap things up.
What about Red Knight?
I mean,
his Red Knight second place finished Arklow, and Arklow moved too soon in this race. I don't really blame Florent Giroux. There's nothing he could do. The horse was sort of dragging him to the front. But he ran, and this is kind of a cool. This is kind of a cool unknown New York bred.
Yeah.
He's very slowly getting into the picture.
Partially the problem with him is the fact that this kind of looks like one of those. We can't show the clip. This kind of looks like one of those
streaker ran through it.
One of those football games that was 42-10, and the team got a touchdown. The other team got a touchdown late to make it 42-17. This is closer than it looks because Arklow had to make that middle move and kind of just dragged him.
Still ran pretty well.
He still ran pretty well. Yeah, and he improved dramatically from the Elkhorn to the Louisville.
Run well at Belmont.
Yeah. Well, listen, there's no, nothing really bad to say about him.
I wouldn't toss him. See what plays out. The Grand Couturier. It's not graded, but it looks like a graded stake. Race number 7. I had a huge problem with race number 7. I had a real problem with this race. I don't like anybody in this race. And I'll tell you something. I don't like the 8, high opinion, because I don't think this horse wants to go a mile and a quarter. And I think you look at his last race, and it proves he doesn't want a mile and a quarter. He didn't get a bad ride his last race. He just couldn't get the distance. I don't know why they're insisting.
She was not good.
I don't know why they're insisting on running her longer.
Last time.
I think she's good shorter, but she's not good longer. If she wins, I lose. I could be wrong. I got her 3rd because I think she's the best horse in the race. But I don't trust this horse.
This was one of these races, when I handicapped this race, it was more about who I didn't want than I did. I tried Prairie Wings last time. She was awful. High Opinion was terrible last time. It looks like Come Storming's maybe a little bit cheap. I've had seen more than enough of Windfall Profit at this point. And it left me with 3 borderline full horses. I guess you can give High Opinion one more chance.
I don't agree with David's line. I think Community Adjusted will be the shorter price, the 2 Clermont horses.
I would.
Everybody seems to see that, and she won a mile and a quarter last time. We'll take a look at her winning a mile and a quarter.
That's not 3 to 1. That says 5 to 1. I thought it's a 3 to 1.
It says 5 to 1. My problem with Community Adjusted is I bet her last time.
Yeah, it's a big problem to have when you cash at 30 to 1.
Once again, we'll have an actual handicapping discussion for a change in the show. Once again,
I know what you mean.
Once again, I can't pick Community Adjusted because I bet her last time at 15 to 1, and she's going to be a fraction of that price in a theoretically tougher spot. I got the money with her last time. I'm not going to be surprised if she wins.
No.
She definitely can win. But Creative Cairo, she was awful last time. There's no doubt about it. She was absolutely terrible.
She ran so much better.
Having said that, she was 4 wide in the first turn, 2 to 3 wide in the second turn, never in the hunt, in a weird, oddly paced race against much better horses. And, she improved with distance 2 back. And I'm hoping she takes another step forward with distance in here. So I'll take her. What I think will be a better price when you adjusted. I could be wrong. David's usually right, but I'm going to think in this case I won't.
My assumption is he made her, shorter because of the stakes. The 1 stakes race.
Oh,
that's what I would assume.
I know it's because Joel was riding, but he couldn't ride the 5 because Manny rode the horse last time and
maybe
gave the horse an unbelievably great ride last time.
I would assume a big part of that was the fact that people are going to look down and see she ran in the stakes race last time. And
I can't use anybody else. I tried to make Sister O'Toole, and maybe she'll improve with distance, and maybe she will, but it's not like Grand Motion. I mean, she ran her at 5.5 furlongs, and she didn't do any running last time. She just sucked along on the rail and picked up second to a horse that came back and ran poorly in her subsequent start at a short price.
Now, you could say you ran her at 5.5 just to get a race under her belt off the layoff, but she didn't really do. I mean, she had a nice setup last time, and she didn't do any running. No. She got second.
She was second by default.
Yeah. I believe the favorite that Lake Lucerne was the chalk that day, but
she was the favorite. She was a Godolphin horse for Brendan Walsh. She came back and was ridiculously short price when she shouldn't even been favored, and she didn't do a stitch of running.
Yeah, I like it. I wanted to look at her as a little bit of a fresh face.
I'd like to pick Windfall Prophet, who speed from the inside, but she was dreadful last time.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
It's a very strange race. I agree. It's a very strange race.
It's a strange. I don't know how the pace is going to unfold. What are they going to, like?
I'm not sure it's going to matter.
Right.
No, right. I had a lot of problems with this race.
I think I just want to use the 2 Christophe Colon horses and just go forward.
Yeah, well, doesn't mean you're going to win, but they are the 2 I settled on, 2 in a different order. Race number 8, the Dwyer. Name the 4 horses in the Dwyer when Albert the Great won.
Can't do that. I can tell you if you
can't name the 4 horses in the Dwyer?
I can't tell you that.
Okay, More Than Ready, Red Bullet, and Commendable. Preakness and Belmont winner. More Than Ready, 4th in the Derby, and Albert the Great, who honestly was the best one. Well, the most talented was probably More Than Ready. And More Than Ready spent most of his career running the wrong races because you had to run in the wrong races. And it's funny if you think about More Than Ready, he was really a miler. How good would he have been in the turf?
Yeah.
But if he stuck around as a 4-year-old man in the turf?
We did a great segment. Kurt Becker does this segment every week on the Equine Forum on HRN on the Dwyer Brothers this week. That was our stroll through racing history. It was really cool. Please
elaborate.
Well, he just basically talked about how they. We
don't care what he said. We want to know about the Dwyer Brothers.
They got into racing. They owned horses and ran. They ran one of the racetracks on Long Island. Got out of the horse race owner. One of the brothers, I don't remember which brother, got out of the owner's business, but they would wager on their horses as a bit of a supplement to the racing stable. And it was like a well-known thing back then. That's what they were doing. Then ultimately,
you weren't allowed to wager on your racing horses? You weren't supposed to bet on your horses?
I don't believe you were. But they were like.
Were you supposed to bet somebody else?
You were not allowed to bet. You're not allowed. Licensed people in the state of New York are not allowed to bet on any horse other than a horse that they train or own.
Right, but I'm saying they bet on their own
exactas,
horses.
Nothing.
But they bet on their own. Well, you could bet your horse on top in exactas.
No. Cannot bet anything else. That's the rule.
Idiotic rule. Okay, but thank you for that. The Dwyer, 1 mile, first captain. You think if first captain wins today, you think Shug thinks about running him in that was a cue to try to watch the replay.
Well, does he have 6 weeks to the Jim Dandy
race in the?
Is that accurate?
No, 4 weeks, right?
4 weeks from
Saturday.
It's July already. I keep forgetting that it's July.
4 weeks from Saturday, 26 days.
Wow. I don't know.
This horse is certainly bred to go long. It's Curlin, America.
Sure is. America, a son of America on the 4th of July observance.
That has speed, and she was a total plotter.
She was a plotter as plotters go.
This horse is okay. His horse came back on to beat Hometown, who had him beat in that race.
Had him dead to rights.
This horse is okay. I like this horse. This horse has won me over.
Yeah.
He's right today, but I mean, this horse has real promise. I mean, he's got to take a step forward to run with the big boys, but that step, this horse is very promising. West Point's it's a good horse. I mean, you paid a lot of money for him. He should be, but.
And he's kind of supposed to. He's
kind of supposed to what?
He's kind of supposed to beat these horses today.
Of course he is.
But what I mean by that is, not only does he have the.
What do you mean
figure edge, but you got to think that.
That's usually the most important.
The way he ran first time out, I think he matured a lot to his second start because of the way he came back on a horse that had a handful more starts than him and obviously some seasoning. And now...
Well, he beat Mahamo first time. He came back and ran a huge figure and winning his Breakers Maiden. And he beat Reporox, who came back to win 2 races later. So he beat good horses for both races.
I would like to see him win decisively today. Okay. I would like to see him...
Like 9 or 10 lengths?
No, I don't even... margin's not that necessary. But
a head, but a decisive head?
I'd like to see him... I'd like to know what the quarter pole that first captain's going to win today. And I don't think in either of his races he's done that yet.
So what you're really hoping is, and let's be honest, that he passes the eye test.
He's already passed the eye test.
Oh, he has. Does he know?
No.
What I'd like to see
It's
him
hard
do.
to, you see,
what
it's
I think,
hard
what
to
I think,
explain.
What I think the people
it's
actually
hard to
are
explain
the people
eye
the same
test.
people are actually involved with this horse. What they're hoping is that he runs a bigger figure, because the Belmont Stakes got a 108 figure, and he's going to have to run faster races at the end of the day.
Well, faster, I think, is equal to decisive.
Well,
I think you'll know if he wins by 3 lengths and he goes a mile
you're
in
talking,
139.
You're talking voodoo. I'm talking actual.
Just because you think it's voodoo, it doesn't make it voodoo.
It is voodoo. No, the eye test stuff is crap, and everybody knows it. It's just nonsense.
The eye test stuff is
drivel.
as far from
it's
drivel as possible.
It's absolute drivel.
No, you just don't understand it, because all you do is
I
you see
understand it.
this.
I understand. It's nonsense.
All you do is see this.
That's all I see.
That's all you see.
That's all I see is figures. That's
all you
I
see.
That's why I picked that $37 horse the other day that had the biggest figure of anybody in the race. I picked that horse because all I see is figures. You're so full of it.
It's all you see.
That's all I see. That's all I see. No, all you do is look at voodoo, like racetrack trainer speak voodoo.
No,
this
it's
horse,
not.
if he's going to take a step forward and run a race like the Travers, he's got to run faster.
Yeah, but that's common sense. But just
common sense is often lacking over on that side of the table.
Don't know about that.
Common sense is often quite lacking over on the other half of this table. The number 5 Snow House did run a reasonable race last time. I'm not sure where it came from, but isn't there an argument this horse is improving at the right time?
The Brad Cox 3-year-olds. That seems like that band just continues to expand.
Where is that horse that won the Matt Win?
He's running Wednesday in the Indiana Derby. He's 4 to 5. So they have 3. They have 3 of the 3-year-olds over at Brad Cox. They have Mandaloon, obviously. They have.
I'm not a believer in Mandaloon. Are you a Mandaloon believer?
I'm a Mandaloon guy. I don't know how far Mandaloon really wants to go.
I'm not a Mandaloon guy.
And Snowhouse, who, like Folsom, started his career on the turf. They ran Folsom 3 times on the turf. They ran this horse once and said, you know what? Enough.
How many times did Monomoy go run on the turf? Twice?
Just once. She broke a maiden at Indiana Grand. Yeah. And she won an allowance race, and she won the Regs to Riches at
Brad, you've been known to run some good horses on the turf.
At Churchill.
Dirt horses.
And I think part of it is to get them around the 2 turns the first time. And he got this horse around 2 turns first time at the fairgrounds. Kept this horse around 2 turns. This horse's race last time, he took a nice little step forward. If First Captain didn't have the look of a horse that you think is going to be really good, I would imagine this horse would take a little bit more money. I'll tell you what, if Gershwin's the second choice, I would be interested in making an exacta with Snowhouse. You got to stop with the drama, man. There's nobody here from the Academy.
It's not drama. It's the nonsense of you with this voodoo crap.
You just
it just doesn't help anybody. Gershwin's not going to be the second choice. The second choice is going to be Snowhouse.
David has Gershwin 5 to 2.
Okay, do you want to bet David?
No, I don't want to bet it. I don't want to bet it, but I'm just saying.
He won a sloppy off the turf Penn Mile.
Yeah, I got that.
Snowhouse won a race for Brad Cox, and
he won 2 races for Brad Cox. I'm not saying I agree with it.
I'm going this way. I know one thing. You're not betting me a lunch that the 1 will be favored over the 5.
No.
We haven't bet any lunches today.
No, there's nothing really exciting today for lunch-wise. I picked Snowhouse scratched out of the Iowa Derby.
I'll put it this
Friday
way.
night.
I gave more thought to picking Snowhouse on top than I gave to picking Gershwin on top of Snowhouse.
Oh, by far.
I'll tell you the funny thing about Gershwin. We don't know how this horse does it if he moves forward a wet, dry track.
Yeah.
It's just odd. He's never been on one. He probably doesn't make any difference. But, gee, I thought for sure. I thought Snowhouse would be a clear-cut second choice here. And Dave's usually right.
You're usually the person that brings it up. I think it's the stakes face thing. And I know that it's off the turf.
But it's an off-the-turf, phonied-up stake face.
I know.
That's not a turf. Beat the King Cheek.
I know.
We never figured out what the King Cheek is.
No. But it wouldn't surprise. I mean, do I think Snowhouse is going to be shorter? Yes. Would it surprise me if Gershwin is shorter?
I'd be surprised.
No, not really. I wouldn't be stunned.
I'd be surprised.
I thought about putting Snowhouse on top. I really did. I liked that he scratched, like I said, he scratched out of the Iowa Derby.
I gave that
Friday
horse a
night.
long look. The problem, they ended up with Snowhouse. I don't like the horse that he beat. I don't think he beat that much. That's why I ended up going the other way. That's why I also, obviously First Captain's the horse to beat, but I was wondering, is it possible this horse is an alternative? It's possible. I don't see Gershwin as an alternative, but I'm often wrong.
I'd also like to see them be a little aggressive with First Captain early today.
To race number 9. Number 9. What do you like about Cartouche?
My man, John Service.
Your man. You guys, he's your man?
John Service.
Does he know?
I know John Service since I'm 7 years old.
Does he know he's your man?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. This horse getting back on the turf for the first time in, 9 months, 10 months. I thought this horse's turf races on the lead,
But they
both
were
around
going
2
longer.
turns. We're good. Now I like the fact I think this horse is a better sprinter. I think this horse is a better turf horse. I think this horse is a better sprinter. And now she gets the turf sprint. That's what I like about Cartouche. And I would imagine the outer part of this field takes the bulk of the money. I think you may get the 5 or 6 to 1 this horse is on the morning line today. I thought this horse was a little interesting on the card.
No, I got the horse second. I don't trust him going the distance. He probably wants more distance.
Do you think he wants more? You see, I thought his dirt sprint races were okay, and I think he's a turf horse. So
I'm worried about the distance.
Okay.
For like I was trying to say. But obviously, I think she has a chance to win this race, and I don't know if she'll be 6 to 1, but she's a horse I'm going to use. As far as Day's Humor, we'll look at last time. I bet her last time. It was an excruciatingly tough beat. The winner was best, though. The winner had trouble at the start and still ran her down. I don't need to go back to this horse at a short price with Irad Ortiz in the second start. And the other thing is, he was able to clear easily last time, and I don't know if that's going to be the case.
She's not supposed to, right?
Right.
I mean, and last time it certainly looked like she was going to get to the top, and she didn't even go that fast last time. She got beat by a horse from way out the back who had a little trouble with the
Yeah, I thought it was a
break,
bad
too.
field last time, and just thought there were more interesting horses in this
Yeah.
race. I'm including this horse, the 7, Trained to Artemis. The thing about Trained to Artemis, and we're going to show her first turf race from Kentucky Downs. The other speed in this race was a Steve Asmussen horse who ran on the dirt for a while and then came back on the turf recently at Churchill Downs and blew a field out. Finally getting back on the turf. This was a pretty quick pace, I think. And I actually in Trained to Artemis ran it here. And I like this horse getting back to the turf. I think this is the right surface for it, and I think Trained to Artemis might just be better than these horses. I know it's a slow figure.
Could be right.
But it was Kentucky Downs, and I like Trained to Artemis getting back on the grass.
First time
here.
Lasix, Wesley Ward's winning at over 35%. Yeah, I mean, they were the 2 for me.
You and I saw the race the same.
Yeah, they were the 2 for me. Days, boy,
I
I'll
can't
tell you
take
what.
Jade's Jelly.
I
That
think
was a
Days
terrible.
Humor's going to be favored over the Wesley Ward horse.
Yeah.
Okay.
She ran a 68 buyer on the turf, and she's got Irad Ortiz.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I don't think Cartouche is going to be 6 to 1. I hope she is. I think she's of the 3 prices out there. Maybe she's the play if she is 6 to 1. I just don't. The problem is I don't trust her going short because I've never seen her go short in the turf. I get what you're saying, and I obviously don't disagree.
Yeah.
She might be able to sprint, but I worry about that because she never went short in the turf.
No, you gotta, of course, you have to, of course, worry about it. But
I also worry
hope-
that she may not be that good.
Could
But
be.
I'm going to use her for sure.
Yep.
And with Day's Humor, she can win, but last time was the time for me. I don't need her today.
Certainly seems like she should have got the job done last time.
She should have. She really should have.
And B,
It's a frustrating beat, but she should have won.
she's facing potentially some
tougher.
tougher horses
Potentially.
and
Yeah.
not as easy a pace scenario.
I would agree with all of that. All right.
At a far worse price. She's going to be the favorite.
Anthony's got a new car, by the way. It's a fine machine. I like that car. I'm very
So
impressed.
do I.
It's a nice car.
Got it almost
It
2
is.
weeks already.
Getting ready to bring
Yeah,
it to
Colby
Saratoga.
was ready. Colby was. I'm giving Colby to a friend. I'm going to pay it forward. I've had some fortune this summer, and I'm going to pay that fortune forward and give her to a friend.
Giving that old car to a friend may not be paying forward anything.
No, they don't have any car right now. Just a tool around to work and stuff in the neighborhood and get
nice.
their kid around and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're a wonderful man. You're
Just
one of
wanna
the
pay it
world's greatest
forward.
friends.
And I have when my friend is done with it, I'm going to get the car back and I'm going to turn Colby into a handicapping and cigar lounge. I have a friend that can make the trunk a humidor for a
I have an
very
idea
nominal fee.
to extend your life. Stop smoking cigars.
No. You smoke cigarettes. You're not allowed to ever tell me to stop smoking cigars.
I quit smoking
That doesn't mean anything.
11 years ago.
You smoke cigarettes. You have people who smoke cigarettes have no right to tell anybody else not to smoke cigars or anything else for that matter.
I don't care what you do, Anthony. I'm trying to extend your life.
I know.
I don't care what vices people do. That's not my problem. But I'm just trying to extend your life as your friend. What am I going to do without you?
Oh God.
What would I
have
do without
no
you?
idea.
I mean, seriously,
I have no clue.
if I lost you, it'd be like worse than losing a pet. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a
Nothing
member of
worse.
Naira Bets, now is the time to become a member of Naira Bets. Use the promo code MATCH200. You, performer, Anthony, everything, support racing in New York. Keep the money in the game. We'll match $200 of your initial deposit. Also, America's Day at the Races, Anthony. You don't want to miss this. 1 to 5:30 today. You sticking around today, or are you
Yeah,
heading
I'm
out?
staying for a little while.
Nice.
I have plans with Acacia. Moon over Miami's a late scratch, by the way.
Moon over Miami's a late scratch?
Yes.
Jeez. That race fell apart, huh?
Uno Miami late scratch. You heard it here first.
That's sad.
You'll hear it in a few minutes from Johnny I, but you heard it here first.
Do you think there's any chance Bill scratched when he saw you picked him?
Absolutely.
So
I don't blame him.
you've got Gufo on top now.
I don't blame him. Now I have Gufo. Yeah.
Okay. He's the worst to beat.
Of course.
And there's a part of me that hopes Gufo runs well today. Because I do think that he has a right to be a player in the division. He just needs to sort of get his act together.
Yeah.
And I hope that
Maybe the blinkers help.
I hope the blinkers do help him because he's got that hang in him, but he's also very talented. I mean, all kidding aside.
No, he's got a good turn of foot. He's a nice, talented horse.
Yeah, he's a good horse. He didn't run
See if the
badly in
blinkers
Manhattan.
help him.
No, I agree. He's a
he was
little
out
goofy
all
there.
the way out the back.
Yeah, he was a little goofy in there.
Yeah.
And he wasn't being domestic spending, but that doesn't.
Gufo was
not
goofy,
not being able
according
to
to
beat domestic spending doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad horse. Anyway, it's been fun. Everybody enjoy the 4th of July holiday on Monday, July 5th. John and Brielle up in a few minutes with the reprise of the scratches and changes, and of course America's Day at the Races on FS2 all day from 1 to 5:30 with the usual crew and cast of characters. Have a great day.